talk. And I want to introduce Mike Mongo, who's going to be who's going to chair the sessions today. Mike has worked with Icarus for the last couple of years. He's been absolutely invaluable to the evolution and to the progress of our work. Thank you. And for everyone who's worked with him, they know that he will do anything for you. He's helped numerous students and adults, here. And before I embarrass him any further, I'll let him do that himself.
Exactly. Yeah. I think I'm much better at embarrassing myself. Yay, team! Yay, team! My name is Mike Mongo. I am the Chief Brand and Culture Officer for Icarus Interstellar, and I am also the Strategic Director of Starship Congress. And I'm also Mike Mongo astronaut teacher. Shameless self-promotion and plug right here. If you are on Twitter, do follow me. I am kind of winging it because we've thrown our time off a little bit, and that's totally okay. The idea of a hackathon was sort of new to me. I work in video gaming, so I have for a long time. Andreas is the one that came up with the idea. We had a terrific success in 2013 with Starship Congress and the engagement of students with working space professionals. And that's what we wanted to foster here at Starship Congress 2015. So Andreas proposed the hackathon. I was definitely nervous about the idea, though I'm all gung-ho about I love to put on a show. And when we started this whole thing, my background is in messaging, audience building and messaging. That's what I do. And getting the idea of what this is across to everybody was really a challenge. Communicating that a hackathon is a temporary community coming together with a real intention, and it's kind of fun to watch it take place. You see me go around and snap everybody's photo, and really, I want you to know what I'm capturing. I'm not just capturing snapshots. What has been taking place here is that sought-after interaction of future space professionals interacting with working space professionals. And I like to remind students that if you're not exchanging contact information, I'm going to grade you a fail. And I will remind you over time, because if there's any luck to this, then we'll get to see each other again and again and again. Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team. This is the kind of stuff that is funny. How many people know where this is from? See, look around. This little piece of information is so significant, and that this is a generational gap right here. This is the Lego movie. Right. It's genius. It's very important. And every working space professional should know it because all the kids know it. All the people who are kids know it. And we just juxtapose. We put in. This is Benny the astronaut, and Benny's a Lego guy, and he loves spaceships, and he wants to build a spaceship. He's always wanted to build a spaceship, but it isn't until everybody comes together and unites in cause that he gets to build a spaceship. And when Benny gets to build a spaceship, he goes, spaceship, 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 spaceship. And so that's how a lot of us feel about Starship. The reason I mention Twitter is that we put this image out during the campaign for Kickstarter 2015, and it was like one of our successes. It has proliferated across the internet. I wouldn't go so far as to call it viral, but I would definitely call it successful. It gets shared all over the place. People relate to it. This is how we connect, and this is important. I'm 50. There's a great likelihood I will not be alive for a Starship. It just is that way. The thing is, as a grown-up, I have to embrace that idea. I can either be completely disappointed and say, okay, well then I'm not going to work on a Starship. I'm going to watch reality television. Or I can realize my place in the scheme of things, and that is to grab a hold of the baton, the torch, and run it as far as I can, and as spectacularly as I can, to attract as much attention as I can for the ones coming behind me or ahead of me who are going to carry it further. And that's why it's important to know these cultural references so we can connect with that audience to take this torch further and to the destination. And the funny thing is, I was talking to some students yesterday, and I was explaining because of the 25-year gulf between their age and my age, there is a possibility that they'll be alive to see a Starship. I mean, it only takes a couple of consecutive breakthroughs and this wonderful, amazing thing happens. And that's an inspiring idea. I also related the fact that it was, when we built the pyramids, it wasn't like somebody came in and said, okay, you guys, here's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna build a pyramid. It's gonna take 35 years. Everybody cool with that? Okay, go. That's not how it happened. There was, for sure, an advocacy process. There was a time during the building of the pyramids, before the building of the pyramids, some people had the idea, some individual had the idea, however that took place. And then they went and they put out the propaganda. They converted people to their cause. I guarantee you that did not take a week. I guarantee you it did not take a year. Now think about this. This is pre-everything. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna carve out this message in stone, and then I'm gonna ship it off to Mesopotamia, and then they're gonna ship me back a carved out message in stone, and then we'll get this pyramid thing going. How long did that take? 10 years? 10 years for the idea to propagate for building a pyramid? So, and then it took another 35 years purportedly to build that pyramid. And there was groups of people that had to get involved. You had to get the slaves involved. And everybody thinks that you just tell slaves what to do and they just do it. I am sure that there was a communication process going on. In fact, there's different, and even when people are enslaved, there's different tiers. There's people who are the crew leaders or whatever like that. And so they had to be communicated the ideas. There had to be intelligence processing that not just do this, but here's what we're gonna do. And then they grokked it, which is a reference for us. By the way, I am not afraid of this microphone. I'm not afraid of this microphone. I will not let it be my master. And they had to get it, and then they communicated it. That was one group. Then there was the people who are not enslaved. They're not royalty, but they're not enslaved. Well, they had to be down with the cause because they have to contribute funds and resources. And then there's the elite, the people who had the freedom to do whatever the heck they wanted. Royalty, politicians, all that group, those people, prophets, etc. They had to be converted to the cause. Okay? This took time. This is going to take time. As I like to refer to myself as a grown-up. I've embraced my inner grown-up. And it took me 42 years. I remember age 42 and I was like, wow, I'm not an adolescent anymore. So I had a good run at that. But now I get to be that person. Okay, here's how we're going to do it. Here's what we're going to do. I get to model the role. Because these people, like in this room, there's two groups of us, even though we all feel as one, which is terrific. Everything is cool when you're part of a team. There's multi-generational thing going on here. So we, as the grown-ups, have to communicate to the future grown-ups that this is how you do it because they're going to be doing it for us. We won't be here for that. You can read the words. There's a tree, there's a plane, there's a lion in it. And this image blasted off the internet. It gets shared on Facebook and Tumblr and Twitter all the time. It's crazy. This is an important idea. I plant trees that I know I will not live to sit under their shade. Both, everybody in this room, we need to wrap our minds around that. Grown-ups, future grown-ups, this is the game right here. We are figuring out the details in this room for sure. When Rachel Armstrong said, "What is a starship?" that is not a minor question. Why are we building starships? Is it to colonize the solar system so that we can spread the wonders of capitalism and collect all the oil that's out there for future generations? Is it to what was the second one? There was 3 ideas we had. One was agents of change. Is it just to go out and terraform, bring water bears and bacteria to other places, or even intentionally model the universe and make it into some work of art? Are we agents of change? Or third, are we the universe being aware of itself? Like someone else said that, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Stars made us so that the universe could be aware of itself. That's a terrific idea. These are important things to think about while we are pursuing the goal of building a starship. What is a starship? What purpose does it serve? Why are we doing that? It was funny when we were talking about this, some really startling revelationary stuff came across to me. And it was basically this. Your starship is going to just pass through unnoticed. And I'll tell you why, because think about this. If an interstellar Sputnik came into our solar system, just beeping, we would flip out. Not necessarily me, but I've been around when everybody flips out. So if you just want to check out everything, the kind of starship you would build may not be distinguishable from anything else. Just looks like it's passing through. Is that a rock? Another rock. There was one other thing I wanted to get across while I'm here. I live in Key West. And in Key West, we have this amazing campaign called One Human Family. And like I said, I do audience building and brand messaging. We've passed out 1 million of these stickers. It's the official philosophy. It's the official philosophy of the city of Key West. All people are created equal members of one human family. And in Key West is a funky kind of place. So dogs are included in this. Roosters are all over the place. Roosters are included.
Not the iguanas.
Iguanas get on my nerves. But you just have to open your definition of what human is. It could be societal. A group that has their own society. Could be beyond that. So when we started this idea, one of the guys in Key West, J.T. Thompson, came up with it, said, all people are created equal members of one human family, and started advocating that be the philosophy of the city. Who can argue it? Sure, we'll make it the philosophy of the city, why not? And we did. Everybody started putting these on their cars and on their houses and on their laptops and all over the place, and then people started asking for them when they come to visit Key West, and we start spreading them out. It's one of the things that we're known for in Key West, equality and inclusion. Taking a little off ramp here. When at the Starship at the 100 remix. At the 100-year Starship, 100-year Starship 2011 DARPA Public Study Symposium, there was the right-hand man to Dave Nayland was definitely gay. It was like he was definitely gay. And at that same conference, I mean, like I heard some people make some comments and everything about that, like off the side. And I thought it was uncool. I don't know if that's the right word. That's a kind way of putting how I felt about it. Oh, here's a funny thing I get to say occasionally. My name is Mike Mongo, and I'm an openly bisexual person. Yeah. No. I was born that way, and I work at it. So, yeah. I'd like to say that I'm openly bisexual, and my wife is openly Pentecostal. So we have a really intense relationship. So, in the process of the pursuit of Interstellar, here at Icarus Interstellar, we realized that inclusion and equality has to be part of this. Because, as Krista McCauliffe said, space is for everyone. She's the teacher that died in the Challenger catastrophe. And that idea that space is for everyone, we had a dialogue about some of these comments and stuff that were made at the 100-year Starship. It was just to the side, it was just peripheral, but it was really important people who said these awful things. And I'm the guy that would call you on the carpet if you say an awful thing. And somebody said, Mike, get off your soapbox. I said, I'm not, man, I'm on firm ground right here. I have not even begun. Because I get to work, as an astronaut teacher, I get to work with kids all the time. And when I show kids astronauts, look, these are the people that are on the moon, have been on the moon, all 12 people who are male and white. This communicates a message to all the students in the room who are generally, as a majority, not male and white. That's just an aspect of it. If we don't look if we don't pitch space as something that is open to all of us, then there are people who take a step back. I tell this story about a 10-year-old girl named Talia, who is female and black. She's a female girl. And I had a chance to have a conversation with her, and it was on video, and it was a brilliant capture I got. I'm very happy about it. And I was showing her, this is how I was like, you know how astronauts move on the moon? And she gives me a funny look, and this is last year. She gives me a funny look, and I said, you know, astronauts on the moon. No. So I bring up my phone, it's like, you know, like an astronaut. And I show her Neil Armstrong bounding across the lunar landscape, and she looks at it. For a second, she turns to me vehemently. That's not real. I said, yeah. And her grandmother's sitting right there, and she looks at her grandmother, and her grandmother's like, yeah. She looks at it, she's looking at it, and she said, that's not real. And I said, yeah. And she looks at it, and she keeps on looking at it, and she says a third time, is that real? Yes. And I said, have you ever seen an astronaut? I'm telling you, me and this thing, we're going to go for it. So I said, have you ever seen an astronaut? Now, here's the funny thing about have you ever seen an astronaut. In our heads, think about what an astronaut looks like. So the astronaut that I bring up to show Talia, her very first image of an astronaut was Mae Jemison floating in the International Space Station. I get choked up, I'm telling you. And on video, her physical body language changed so dramatically. She was like this looking at it. She sees Mae Jemison, and she does this. Then I showed her some awesome stuff, like stuff floating in space. And that was it. We finished the conversation. I went to the car. She said goodbye, thanks to her grandmother. I went to the car, I sat down, and I cried. I cried for two reasons. I cried because a fifth grader had not seen somebody be on the moon. That's like, whoa. I mean, I'm 50 and I'm excited about that. She didn't think it was real. That I cried. And then the second reason I cried is because I got to show her her first astronaut, and it was Mae Jemison, who looked like her. So now she has it in her head that I can be an astronaut. With all this in mind, Icarus Interstellar and one of our allies, Martine Rothblatt, and Kurzweil AI, we've been working on founding a new organization called Spaces for Everyone. And it's a twofold organization. What it does, I mean, we're communicating the same way. We're going to spread the message just like this, Spaces for Everyone. And in one sense, we want all the kids in the world to know that space is yours and you can go get it. It's yours. Go get it. And also, no matter who you are, that you belong. I mean, you have to remember, there's a lot of people who aren't rich. Space is theirs. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who don't have the same abilities. We have to make us a place and space for everyone. Otherwise, we will not get there. So I'm taking this opportunity today to announce that Icarus Interstellar is umbrelling a new organization called Spaces for Everyone. We're just debuting the idea. You'll hear more about it as time progresses, particularly our new members, our new charter members. Everybody's going to be involved in this as much as you want to be. But it is our job to model these ideas to the people that are coming after us. If we are seriously interested in building a starship, this is the message we have to spread. And that's my talk.